Ever notice how you come across somebody once in a while you shouldn't have messed with? That's me.
I am not an African American.
You're Oreo cookie, white in the inside and black on the outside.
I don't have an afro, I have an Amerifro.
Talking that idiotic stuff you talk about, I will slap you.
Go ahead. Make my day.
Black as the ace of spades, but 100% American.
Heard around the world by everybody and their mama. The Jesse Lee Peterson Radio Show.
Uniting the races with truth instead of dividing them with lies. We're also rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. Welcome to the show. I am Jesse Lee Peterson. Yesterday I told you about a story out of Philadelphia, Philadelphia Magazine article about how white people are feeling there in Philadelphia, but are afraid to talk about it for fear of being called racist. Very, very interesting story there. The mayor, Nutter, of Philadelphia, had a hissy fit about it, and I still don't know why. But I have with me Wayne Bennett. He's back. He's going to help me and you to understand why the black mayor had, along with other black people in that city, had a hissy fit about the truth. Wayne Bennett is publisher and founder of the award-winning Field Negro blog, a Field Negro blog, which has been featured in the LA Times, the New York Times, Essence, and GQ magazine. He's also a Philadelphia attorney with his own private criminal defense practice. I wanted to talk to him about being white in Philly, article in the Philadelphia magazine. Hey, Wayne, welcome back to the show, sir.
Jesse, thank you for having me, Reverend. It's a privilege to be on your program again. You're working hard, man. I'm going to make you a Field Negro yet. You stayed up all night. You're raring to go again. You're Field Negro, man. You're hiding your true calling.
See there? Tell the folks what, because there are some people who don't know what a Field Negro is.
Well, it's an old. It's obviously it's part of the old Malcolm X speech,
Right.
where he spoke of the dichotomy within the African American community at the time. We were talking the mid '60s. Between house Negroes and field Negroes, and he drew an analogy to the slave plantation. And, some of the Negroes were in the house, and they had it a little better, and some were in the fields, and they were working, in the sun, and they were working harder. Obviously, more were in the fields than were in the house. So, and he drew an analogy and a parallel with what was going on at the time. Unfortunately, Reverend, I think we still kind of have some of that going on now. I'm not going to put you in the house, my brother, just yet, but I do see you on Fox News a lot, and I know I know you're big in the conservative movement, but I still have love for you. I'm still trying to get you out here in the fields with us.
Well, most black people have already put me in the house. When I was angry at white people and blamed them for my problems and thought that the government was good for us, I was a Field Negro. But when I woke up and realized that wasn't necessarily true, I became a house Negro.
Now, see, Reverend, that's where you're wrong, because I think what happens is that's a misconception. A Field Negro doesn't think the government is going to do for him or her. A Field Negro wants to do for him or herself, and they want to work hard and be self-sufficient. So I think that's a misconception about Field Negroes, that we're just always radical and throwing stones at the government and wants the government to do for us. I think nothing could be farther from the truth.
But if you notice, the Field Negroes are jealous of the house Negroes, and they don't want to work today. They don't want to be in the fields work.
Well, that's not necessarily true. I talk about that and I don't want to plug my blog too much, but
yeah,
if you
can.
go to my blog post and go to a post called Field Negro 101, I talked about that, and I said that, listen, being a field, obviously it's a metaphorical thing. It's not, if you, I don't care how much money you have, you can still be a Field Negro. It's just a matter of where your head is and how you want to advance yourself in this country. If you want to work hard and be self-sufficient, That's being a field Negro. If you want to depend on others and use others to get over and do certain things, listen, there are a lot of people in my community that other people would call field Negroes that I call house Negroes because they're doing things that are undermining our community. So I think we have some common ground on those things. We just disagree ideologically on how to go about getting them and politically.
Yes. You're not a big fan of this article, this Philadelphia Magazine article about white people, and it talks about how they fear. As a matter of fact, you write that you're not a fan of the Being White in Philly article. You write that Philadelphia Magazine is Philadelphia in name only. The truth is, it caters to a very white, somewhat upscale, and very suburban reader base. Are you saying that the white people who live in the suburb are not really part of Philadelphia?
Actually, yes, I am. When I say not really a part of Philadelphia, obviously, geographically, they are in the Philadelphia region, but the people that read Philadelphia Magazine, and I know your show is a national show, and those in this area will be able to appreciate what I'm saying. It's mostly suburban reader base. Montgomery County, Delaware County, Chester County, the outerlying counties of Philadelphia. Those people only come to Philadelphia whenever there's an event, maybe the orchestra, a play, and so on. And when they do come to Philadelphia, they come to Center City, they take the train or they drive their cars, they park, and they leave. This is nothing new, obviously, to urban areas and what goes on. But my issue with the article was that it took only one perspective of what goes on with race relations in Philadelphia. They didn't talk to any of it. First, and Jesse, this is going to come as a shock to you, but I have a lot of white Philadelphia friends, Philadelphians who actually live in Philadelphia. And these things that they're talking about, they don't see it. They're not afraid to go to certain African-American neighborhoods in Philadelphia or go to an African-American restaurant or go to African-American...
Well, they may not be, but most white people are, and I don't blame them. I was happy about this Philadelphia article because I've been saying to white people for the last 23 years, you better start speaking up for yourself and not be afraid to tell the truth about what's going on
Jesse, what
with
should
black
they be
people.
Afraid of? This is where I have an issue with you, what you're saying. We're not going to jump up and bite white people. See,
I know, but you're going to cry racism. You guys are going to imitate Jesse Jackson and others who are threatening white Americans by calling them racist and then suing them and getting money.
No.
And the average white person doesn't want to carry that title of being a racist. They run from that.
No, Reverend, the truth of the matter is I want a discussion on race just like the white guy or white woman walking down the street. I want to have that discussion. I want us to have a frank, open discussion.
I keep hearing that from you guys, but you don't want to tell the truth about it. The reality is...
Well, maybe truth, maybe what they perceive as the truth isn't the truth. Have you ever thought of that?
But the reality is that in America today, the average black person, not all, but most are racist toward white people, and whites are not racist necessarily toward blacks. And we have dealt with white racism, but we're not dealt with black racism. So when you say you want to have a discussion, you want to have a one-sided discussion, talk about the past, talk about slavery, talk about systematic racism, but you don't want to tell the truth about how most black people are racist.
Do you really believe that most black people are racist?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. There are some things I'm sure about and others I'm not. I am 100% sure that most blacks are racist.
Now we've got I am 100% sure that you're wrong. I think that most black people, if given and I know you've experienced this, do you notice how most black people, you might perceive one thing, but the reality is another? In other words, have you ever seen, I've never seen black people not embrace white people just because they're white. It might be because of some perceived injustice. It might be because of something else. But the history doesn't tell us that we're...
Wait, let me take a quick break. We'll pick up on this on the other side of the break. Back in a moment.
You're my darling, darling baby. Sing with me, sing for the year, sing for the laughter, sing for the tear. Sing with me, just for today, maybe tomorrow the good Lord will take you away.
Wayne Bennett is with me. He is publisher and founder of the award-winning Field Negro blog. Lives in Philadelphia. He is an attorney. He's not happy with this Philadelphia Magazine article being white in Philly. And I am taking your call on this too. Wayne, let me ask. In the article, the writer says that his son is going to a school there, a university there in Philadelphia.
Temple.
And it's in a bad neighborhood, which is predominantly black. And he's concerned about his son because the neighborhood is so bad. And we see that around the country. At USC here in L.A., at one point, it was a very, very nice community, mostly white. And some blacks at the time are mostly whites. The whites left the community. The school is still there. The neighborhood is predominantly black and Hispanic. And I'm afraid to go over there at night. What is wrong with this author admitting that he has that concern?
Well, the problem with this article, first of all, Reverend, he interviewed 60 white people for an article on race relations and having a discussion about race in Philadelphia. So that was a non-starter for me. You have to interview white people, black people.
Who made that rule?
Huh?
Who made that rule?
Well, no, you're right. There's it's not a rule, but if you're going to write an article for a Philadelphia magazine, which is a predominantly white magazine, and you want to gauge race relations in Philadelphia and have an open, frank discussion as a white person, how you feel to be white in Philadelphia, I think you have an obligation to speak to not only white Philadelphians in Fairmont.
Not really. The article was called Being White in Philly. It wasn't about being white and black. And black people are always writing about race, and they don't interview white people about it to get their opinion. They just put their opinions out there with no challenge.
Okay, how about interviewing other white people, not just white people, in one little neighborhood called Fairmont? See, I'm going to tell you a little bit about Philadelphia. Fairmont is a neighborhood that is going through gentrification, and there's some tension in that neighborhood because blacks who've been there are now moving out, whites are moving in. So he goes to Fairmont and he interviews whites who live in this neighborhood and in this perceived dangerous neighborhoods right on the fringe of Fairmont. Obviously, these people are going to give, well, we're white, but we have certain fears, and so I don't think it was poor journalism.
I thought it was excellent. I think we need more white Americans coming out and speaking the truth. But you don't see anything wrong with the author having this concern for his son, and that he's going to this school, and it is in a bad neighborhood, and we hear about crime being put up on these college students all the time by blacks and Hispanics. Sure.
Well, Fairmont, Temple University is in North Philadelphia, which is a predominantly African-American neighborhood. But you know what? Villanova is on the main line, and they've had rapes.
Let's go back to let's go back to this area. You don't see anything wrong with this author having concern about his white son, right?
I do think there's something wrong because statistics
does not
bear up that he should have concerns about his white son.
So if your kid were going to a school in a bad neighborhood, you would not have concern?
There's no such thing as a bad neighborhood. You mean a neighborhood?
Oh, yes, there
are
bad neighborhoods, buddy.
Well, I would have concerns if my school was going to a poor neighborhood in West Virginia with a lot of poor white rednecks.
No, let's go back to this. Why are you saying that there's no such thing as a bad neighborhood? Have you heard about Chicago lately?
You mean a neighborhood with higher crime rates than other neighborhoods?
A neighborhood that is predominantly black and Hispanic, and crime is out of control.
Well, that's where I take issue. I think they're predominantly white neighborhoods.
I didn't ask you, though, if there are white neighborhoods like that. I asked you, why would you say that in this predominantly black neighborhood, crime is not about crime?
But around Temple University, there is not as much crime as in other neighborhoods around Philadelphia. That's just the fact.
No.
So this man's fears are not justified. If he goes to Temple University,
when my kids went off to school, I had concern when they were in a public school
Sure.
in a predominantly black community because fights would break out, gangs, violence, all kind of stuff would go on. So his feelings, his concerns are justified.
Right, but I'm trying to get you away from this thing saying black. It's poverty that makes these neighborhoods bad.
No, it's a
Reverend,
lack of
not
character.
The neighborhood is black.
It's not poverty that causes crime. Lack of character causes crime. I grew up on a plantation in Alabama. We had to grow everything that we ate for the most part, and we didn't have a lot of money. We did not attack people. We did not hate the white man. We did not commit crimes because we had more character. Blacks, not all, but most blacks are immoral today, and that's why this crime thing is happening.
Boy, that's a heck of a statement. I heard some of your bumpers, the promos. No wonder these black folks are so mad at you, man. You can't say most black people are immoral today.
Why can't I say that when it's true?
Because it's not based on any facts.
I can give you facts.
You're just saying that based on your experience.
Let me give you facts. You are aware that Black Americans are 13% of the population, yet over 40% are relying on the government in one form or another.
I am also aware that most black Americans are poorer than white Americans.
No. You are aware that of the 13%, over 40% are relying on government in one form or another, right?
Yeah, but so are a lot of white folks.
No. Why do you guys always compare white people to your mess?
How many corporations rely on the government? How many people rely on student loans? That's the government.
But Wayne, you guys are never going to get better until you can really look at yourself
Reverend, we have an
yourself.
entire community here in Philadelphia called Levittown, Pennsylvania, outside of Philadelphia, that was built. It was one of the first suburbs in America. You know what it was built on? White people getting benefits from the Army.
Oh,
so
Lord.
I don't want to hear about black folks getting benefits. Everybody gets benefits from the government. You're going to get a benefit when you retire and you're getting your Social Security.
I put it there, though. That's my money. I'm getting it back.
Well, you know what?
They
I
didn't
could
give
argue
it to
black
me.
folks put it there, too.
Oh.
From the hard work we put in for not getting any compensation
Let's go back
all these hundreds of years.
Let's go back to this article. Another point, he interviewed a school teacher, a white school teacher, who said that she disciplined a black boy in the school for fighting, and I believe it was for fighting. I don't have the article in front of me. And the stepfather complained to the teacher, the principal, about it, and the teacher was forced to apologize for saying boy to a boy. And now the boy is out of control because he understands and knows that no one is going to discipline him now. And what's wrong with writing about that?
There's nothing writing about that, but if it was done in a different context as opposed to race in Philadelphia, I wouldn't have had a problem.
See, this is why we can't have a fair discussion about race, because
but it's not
you
fair.
guys don't want to admit that you're racist.
But, Reverend, it's not fair if he's nitpicking things to suit his meme and to suit his narrative for his article. That's all I'm saying.
Lord.
Why not interview African Americans?
Because it wasn't about that. It's about white fear.
But why not interview some whites who live and get along with
He didn't have to do that. I mean, of course you could find one or two white people
one or two
who will get along, going along with black folks, but most of white people are afraid.
No, this city is 50-50. I guarantee you. People are getting along just fine every day in Philadelphia. Trust me. There's no white.
You guys are in denial.
Black
Black people are in denial. That's amazing to me, Wayne.
That we're what?
You're in denial.
No. I'm not in denial.
Hold for me, Wayne. Hold on. Back in a moment.
Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Yeah, there will be an answer. Let it be.
My great country, my America, is being destroyed from within, and it's getting worse by the minute. In the third hour today is Manhood Hour. There is a new reality show called Preacher's Daughters, and it's disgusting. Just wait, folks. You're not gonna. Well, you will believe it. If I had a son, he would look like Trayvon Martin. That's what our racist black president said once, which just really divided the race more than any other person in the history of America. Talking about this Philadelphia article from the Philadelphia Magazine, being white in Philly. And Wayne is with me, a brave soul. He's not afraid to be challenged like most liberals. Wayne, I appreciate you not being afraid to come on and take the heat.
Oh no, I can stand the kitchen.
I have a text for you from the Bible go-to guy who happens to be a white man.
Who's the white man? God?
The Bible go-to guy.
Oh, I thought you said, okay, I'm sorry.
And speaking of God, Jamie Foxx called the fallen Messiah, Barack Obama, black people Lord and Savior. Do you agree that Obama is you guys Lord and Savior?
No.
No. Why would you think Jamie would say that?
I think he was just making a joke. He was being a comedian. That's what comedians do.
You think it was just a joke?
Yes.
But the black people in the audience loved it. And
because they got it. They got the joke. I mean, certainly some black. Listen, if you've been in a country where you were enslaved and you all these terrible things happened to you, and you lived to see a day where one of your own became the leader of this country that was all white men before, I think that's something to celebrate. I don't think he should be our God or Messiah.
But
certainly.
these people were never enslaved. They don't even know what it means to be enslaved.
Yeah, but they're still living with
an illusion, a false illusion.
Well, the reality is, see, you always look at how we as black people see America. What about a lot of white folks still see us as different, right? And
they see you guys as begging and whining and complaining unnecessarily and violent and angry.
No, a lot of them suffer from what I call color arousal. They see us and they see our color, and they get it creates automatic tension and apprehension on their part.
Because they're afraid of being called racist.
No.
But let me, the Bible go-to guy, who is a white man, would like to know, how is it that slave-fueled Negro is still in the vocabulary and mindset of blacks? It blinds blacks to the fact that they have serious issues caused all by themselves.
He's saying that the field Negroes, we're blinded to the fact that we have issues that we cause by ourselves?
Yes, because you still hold on to this idea of slave field Negroes.
I see, the slave metaphor. No, I mean, it's history. I mean, just like I'm sure I don't know where he's from, Ireland or Germany or wherever his ancestors came from.
I think he's from Arizona.
Okay, well, he's from Arizona, but I'm sure he's, unless he's Native American, he came here from somewhere else. So I'm sure he still celebrates whatever his ancestors brought. We just had St. Patty's Day here in Philadelphia, and my Irish brothers were very happy, and they were celebrating their culture and their history and where they came from. So I think the fact that he thinks that we should just forget about slavery, I think, is kind of ludicrous and preposterous.
You should forget about it. It's over. It doesn't, no. Because it's holding you back in life.
It's not. No, it's not holding.
It's not holding you back. You're doing very well.
Well, but you have to. But everyone could be. You see, you just have to understand the history and understand how to embrace it and take it. It's history, Reverend. We can't run away from that. So we have to work within the context of history. Obviously, we want to improve our own lives, and we have to work harder. If anything, slavery taught us is that how to work.
Oh, amazing. You don't have to work. Everybody have to work harder, not just black people.
I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you on that. But here's the problem. No matter how hard some of us work, and I mean some black folks, not necessarily me, because I have had certain advantages in life, but some of us work, we're kind of like these little rats on the spinning wheel, right? We can't advance our position because of forces around us, such as political forces, conservatives like yourself.
But you have a black socialist president now. Why can't you?
No, he's not a socialist. He's a middle of the road moderate.
Why can't you further your agenda now that we've given you a black president?
Because the political system, and you know this, you're a smart man, the political system is not set up that way. It's set up to hold certain people in power and certain things in place. It's very hard to change the system from top down.
Amazing. Even with the fallen Messiah and Big Mama in the White House, you still can't get ahead.
See, this is where you and I disagree. You think I just agree with the man. I don't necessarily. I'm not in line with the man politically. I would be far left of the man if I had my way.
Wayne, can you do one more segment?
Yeah, one more, very briefly.
Okay, buddy. All right, thank you. Right back in a moment, folks. I'm going to have this article put up on my Facebook page, facebook.com/Jesse Lee Peterson, and my website, bondaction.org, bondaction.org. It is an excellent about time article that white people start to speak up. Being white in Philly and written in the Philadelphia Magazine. Excellent. The more I think about it, the more I read it. Wow, it's about time. So it will be up there today if you have not read this great article. It's a must-read for everybody and their mama. I appreciate my guest, Bennett, for staying this final segment. He's a busy man. He was scheduled to have ended at the bottom of the hour. So, Wayne, you want to give out information so folks can read about your writings and what you're doing?
Sure. I'm on Twitter at Field Negro. My blog is thefieldnegro.com. So always come over and get a read, and feel free to. I'm like you, Reverend. I'm not afraid to engage. So come over and leave a comment, and you can also email me at fnblg@yahoo.com. So I love to engage people, and that's what. That's what this democracy is about, and I think that's how we're going to work out a lot of our problems. But I have to take some issue with what you just said. You said white people never get a chance to say their side or speak about.
Well, they're afraid to. They get the opportunities, but they are afraid to for fear of being called racist.
They have an entire network, and they have people. That people call you the Black Rush. They have the White Rush over there making millions doing that every day.
Because Rush is not afraid.
And
just imagine how great our country would become again if more white people had the same courage.
Oh, a lot of them do, believe me. He has a big microphone. There are people, you go on the internet, you see people, I know that a lot of them do it anonymously, but people are not afraid to, white folks aren't afraid to engage, especially now that we have this black president in the White House. I think white folks have been emboldened to speak of their issues and what they perceive, which I think is wrong, by the way, because I don't think if you're white in America, you should have any excuses for anything in terms of...
I think the reason we're getting such responses back from whites and blacks and others, Rush and I and Sean Hannity, because people can relate to what we're saying.
You mean, some people, some white people. People who, see, you always talk about black folks playing the victim card, but you trust me, you got a lot of white folks out there playing the victim card as well, unfortunately. Although I don't know why, but they do. Because
of time, you do admit that Fairmont is really a bad area to live in.
No, Fairmont. No, it's not.
I'm looking at it now on the net. It's bad.
No, it's not. Fairmont is going through gentrification right now. You go on, and I hope someone can email you or call you on that. There are places in Fairmont now that $500,000 homes. So I agree with you. It's a transitioning neighborhood, and there are some very bad areas in Fairmont.
Why is it, Wayne, that whenever blacks move into an area, it turns from day to night? It just becomes what is? I know why, but I'm asking you. Why is it that they cannot go into an area and keep it beautiful or make it beautiful if it's not beautiful? What is wrong with them?
Well, first of all, the premise of your question is wrong, but I'm going to try to answer what I think you want.
Can you name one place in this country where blacks are in control? The city councils are black, the mayor, police chief, and people are rushing there to live. Thank you.
Well, I mean, I can't. Well, Philadelphia. We're gaining population in Philadelphia. White folks are rushing to live in Center City, Philadelphia, from the suburbs.
Oh, Lord.
So, I mean, I'm sure there are many other cities. There are many other neighborhoods. Mount Airy here in Philadelphia, Hancock Park out where you live.
Lord.
A lot of areas in Maryland. I mean, I could go on and on. But let
me ask you, because of time, I'm looking at the clock here. How do you feel about the way that the mayor Nutter, reacted to this piece?
Didn't like it at all. I didn't think he should have responded in the way he did.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was his job to I think he actually gave the story more legs than it needed, and the way he responded made him seem he has other issues he has to deal with right now. So I don't.
And so what was wrong with the way he responded?
I didn't think an official letter. I mean, he should let people like us deal with that.
Yeah, he
That's
should
not-
go sit down and get rid of the crime in that area.
Well, he shouldn't sit down and get rid of it. He has a lot of work to do, so I think he should be working. Right, I agree with you there.
You're right that there is also a general theme throughout the piece, talking about the article, that whites would like to engage blacks and talk about race, but us black folks make it hard for them to do so. Of course, nothing could be further from the truth. Does talking about race make us a little more upset than it does you? Of course it does. Why does talking about race make black people more upset than it would make anyone else?
Because of the analogy I gave in the piece about the breakfast, right? If a chicken and a pig are talking about breakfast, making breakfast, obviously the chicken is going to want to make the chicken doesn't have a greater stake in the breakfast than the pig does, because the pig is breakfast. Chicken's just going to drop an egg, and his egg is the breakfast. The pig is the breakfast. So in the terms of American history, black folks are the pig, right, to stay with my analogy. So we get angry because of what has happened and our stake in what has happened.
That's amazing.
As opposed to white folks.
I don't believe you had an answer to that.
I did. I just told you.
I know, but that's a made-up answer.
We're
It's not true.
The emotional investment we have in this discussion is so much greater than people in the majority population.
You know why blacks get so upset?
No.
And they have so much anger?
Why?
They hate their mothers and grandmothers.
Oh, my God.
Their mothers and
No.
grandmothers have passed this anger down to them,
No.
but they don't realize it because they have been told that it's white racism. So, and because most blacks will not look at themselves, they cannot see that they have been recreated by their black mothers and grandmothers.
Now, how about they're just angry because they're hungry? They can't get a
No,
good
they're
job.
not hungry.
They got to work 2 or 3 jobs to take care of their families.
What's
and
wrong with
other
that?
people. Huh?
What's wrong with that?
Well, there's nothing wrong with it, but when you see, you're making $7 an hour working 2 jobs, or $7.25 an hour, and you're struggling under these conditions, and the government is making
These people get
the
food
politics-
stamps, they get free houses, they get
Oh.
everything they want, free breakfast, and they're still hungry?
Maybe I shouldn't have said hungry, because in America, I don't really think anyone is really hungry, but relatively speaking. But
Wayne,
it's tough. It's tougher for poor folks.
Yeah, Wayne, thank you so much for being on with me, man.
Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure.
All right,
Take
buddy.
care.
Okay.
Bye.
All right, back in a moment.